So, Perfect Blue. This is a directorial debut by the famous director Satoshi Kon, who passed away unfortunately of pancreatic cancer back in 2010. This movie came out originally back in 1997. I believe it came out in the United States in the early 2000s. I think it was, or the late 90s. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
yeah.
that.
So
either.
this is a psychological thriller. It's a very whacked up psychological thriller.
Yeah, it's about this former pop idol who wants to, who, I guess she leaves and turns to actress.
Well, she doesn't really want to become an actress.
Well,
She wants to be
the decision's really kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of social commentary on Japan about how people are shoehorned into doing things they want to do for the sake of money and publicity. I mean, it's like in the States too.
And,
Like,
yeah,
I heard in Japan,
I think,
with their whole the nail that sticks out must be hammered down mentality.
It's very.
I can only assume that in Japan you got all these strict rules about doing what's best for your company and not following your heart, but following what other people want to see you do for the sake of expanding your name. And this movie's big social commentary on that is what happens when your name becomes so big that people care more about your name, your image, than they do about the person who portrays that image. So what we have here is this pop idol girl. I forgot her name was Mimi something, or is that?
Well, her name is Mimarin. She used to be part of this pop idol group. It's this pop idol group called Cham.
Cham, yeah.
And she leaves to expand this sort of role that she has in a Japanese police detective
drama.
Yeah.
So, and the whole movie is just one psychedelic like mind fuck between trying to figure out what's real and what's not.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you've seen all of other Satoshi Kon movies,
all three of them, or four of them actually.
Well, I don't know if Tokyo Godfathers was really that surreal. I mean, they're.
Yeah, that's the one with the transgender hobo, right?
Yes.
Oh man.
And
I'm sorry that the only thing I can do remember the movie Tokyo Godfathers was with the transgender hobo. But that's the first thing that came to mind.
Well, at least in Millennium Actress and Paprika, which I've only seen kind of like parts of, it has this way of it's telling this sort of story through reality and the fiction within the fiction that is written in this theater.
What's interesting is this movie was made back in 97, and despite the fact that the technology is dated, like they're using dial-up modems for their computers, the message is still timeless. And that's that we are letting technology dictate how we perceive ourselves. Like there's this crazy stalker guy who's stalking her, Mimi, whatever. I'll just call her Mimi. Mimadin. I'll just call her Mimi for short. He stalks her, and he goes into her fan website, and there's this person impersonating her, pretending to be her, saying, "I'm the real Mimadin," and that imposter trying to be me. I'm the idol, not the fake person.
Yeah, there's this certain absolute way of kind of screwing with the audience and the protagonist in a way. You expect this guy to be kind of like paranoid, he has like Mimarin's voice in his head.
Yeah,
whenever he commits the murders, and in a way, he does, but that voice isn't. He doesn't project that. He's not the one projecting it. It turns out to be, and. Yeah, we're probably gonna spoil it.
There's no such thing as spoil. This movie's 21 years old. There's no such thing as spoiling a movie that's over 20 years old. Okay?
It turns out to be one of her agents.
Yeah, I think it was her main agent.
Yeah, it's the female one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rumi.
Yeah, this whole movie is all about how art imitates reality, and it's got you've got art imitating reality and reality imitating art, and vice versa, and it keeps going in a cycle. Like the main character Mimi is playing this character on this detective drama with dissociative identity disorder, and she kills people based on the fact that her alternate personality made her do it, and in real life, her manager is suffering from dissociative identity disorder and is killing people so that she can, because she wants to become famous.
Her vessel is like this, creepy janitor guy, and
I think it was a security guard.
well, I mean, whatever he is, he he's Rumi's vessel.
Yeah,
pretty
and
much.
what's interesting is this guy. He doesn't even get a line. We don't even know his name, and yet he manages to contribute so much to the film just by being there. Okay, he doesn't say anything. I think during the rape scene he says something, but it was all muffled. I couldn't hear it.
Well, I think he's the one who's saying like the real, like something about the real Mimidin.
Yeah, so he doesn't even say. He doesn't even get a line. We don't even know his name, and just and I guess that could be. I guess some people maybe I'm looking too deep into this, or some people say, "Oh, we're looking too deep in this." You're saying, "Oh, we don't give him a name because we want you to project yourself into him and see what would you do in his situation." I guess, but that's looking too deep into it. I don't want to be one of those philosophical assholes who tries to look into everything and say that there's some sort of deeper meaning to it. I mean, I'm sure there might be. This is Satoshi Kon we're talking about. This guy was a genius, but there's no way of knowing for sure if that was his intention.
I think what Satoshi Kon really is taking, like what we should take from what Satoshi Kon is writing about, what he's writing and directing about, I think he's talking about how like, you have how maturity is very hard on celebrities. And, with celebrity culture, there is always a pressure to like either grow up or, stay the character that everybody knows. And, it's, you kind of have to understand that's really up to, the central character. And what I'm saying is that, there are some people who want Mimidin to stay a pop idol, and there's the other agent who wants Mimidin to broaden and into become an actress, and what happens, because of her willingness to, move out of the pop idol role, she goes in, and what constitutes is there is a lot, certain things that happen with, like, celebrities want to be mature, so they take this like huge adult role, and for Mimidin there is a lot of there's a lot of pressure that goes into it, and it turns out she doesn't want to. And it turns out, like, being a part of it also includes some stuff that may be very questionable. Like, for example, there is a rape scene in the drama that she stars in, and it's I think it speaks more for, like, how questionable, like, the roles can be for certain people.
Yeah, and then there's the scene where she's hallucinating, where she's being raped by that security guard guy. Was that a hallucination or was that real?
That was at this point, she has this, it's flashing back to some of the moments that are happening. So, for example, like, like she did the rape scene, and now she's almost kind of living it.
Yeah.
And
so that was all her hallucination, right?
Well, I mean, like, God knows what was going on in his mind, but I think in her mind, she was reliving some of the moment.
Yeah, and the security guard guy eventually gets killed by Mimi's manager or talent agent guy at the very end.
Yeah, and and that agent dies.
Yeah.
And
no, she doesn't die. She goes in the hospital, isn't she?
Well,
mental hospital.
Well, all right. Let's make it clear. Mimidin has two agents. There's one of them who is pushing for Mima to take the acting role.
Yeah.
And there's that other agent who is Rumi, and her character is like, she wants Mimiden to at first you think she's there just in case Mimiden backs out of that and goes back into being pop idol, but it turns out she thinks the real Mimiden should be a pop idol, and when the real Mimiden becomes an actress, she thinks she's the real Mimiden, the pop idol Mimiden.
Yeah.
And that's what causes it.
Yeah. So we saw this movie in the English dub, and as far as I can tell, it was pretty faithful. I haven't seen the Japanese dub. There was one thing that really kind of made no sense. There's like where she's complaining about when her managers teach her I'm not sure if it was her manager or if it was her agent was teaching her how to use the internet, because this was 1997. Not many people knew how to use the internet back then.
Well, it was Rumi.
Yeah, and she's like, can't you explain this in English? I'm like, shouldn't she say, can't you explain this in Japanese? I mean, like, obviously that was probably a slip of the tongue, but it kind of, I mean, they're supposed to be speaking Japanese, so when you say, can't you explain this in English? I think they should have.
Well, it was the 90s.
It was it was the 90s dub. Yes, of course, it's not gonna be perfect, but if there's one show, and the English voice actress for Mimi was kind of annoying. She was kind of like squeaky all the time, but then again, Mimi in Japanese means like chibi or chibi or Mimi in Japanese means small, like small and cutesy. So I think
okay.
so I think given that her name is Mimi, I think that she's supposed to be annoying. But like I said, I haven't seen the Japanese dub. But as far as late 90s dubs go, this is really good. It wasn't. I mean, like you've got
yeah. Well, the character of Mima is a pop idol, and she just. And I don't know. I don't know what the dubbers were.
Wait, I'm not sure if Mimi means small in Japanese. Let me look it up. Don't quote me on that.
Whatever it is, I think the dubbers were looking for just like someone who was for like a voice that about like being naive and stuff. And
Mimi means.
I mean, you know, there are points where you go way too far.
In Chinese, it means secret. In Japanese, Mimi in Japanese means ear. Sure.
I try Mima.
Mima.
And
Mima in Japanese means
beautiful,
witch, demon, or evil spirit. I guess that kind of explains. I guess that explains her.
There's a lot.
She's beautiful. She's a witch. She's her demon and an evil spirit all in one. Her alternate personality is. I mean, the manager's personality is. So yeah, that perfect name for her.
So yeah, it's one of the. Again, there is so much that can go into this. I mean, we're barely scratching the surface on like what it means even today.
Okay, yeah, and the thing is, I'm the guy. I wrote like a 21-page thesis on Neon Genesis Evangelion, explaining the philosophies on that. That was a 26 episode and one movie animated series. This is an 81-minute movie. So, and there is almost as I would say there was like a lot here. Not as much as Evangelion to speculate on as an Evangelion, but there is a lot here to speculate on to the point where if someone were to write like a college thesis on this thing, they'd probably be writing it for days on end. And unfortunately, since Satoshi Kon passed away back in 2010, I guess we'll never know what he truly meant by this, and we'll probably never get a sequel or anything else. But speaking of which, back in 2010, before Satoshi Kon passed away, he was working on another film called Dream Machine, which is a road movie. It was a robot road movie. It was like, and it was like halfway finished, but then after he died, it ceased production. This was 8 years ago, and for the past 8 years, it's been in development hell. So I guess like if people could show more appreciation to his previous 4 films, I'd love to see one more film directed by him, even if it's only halfway finished by him and the other half is done by someone else. It would be awesome to see.
I don't know about that.
Oh, come on, it'll be fun. It won't be stub. It'll still be. He'll at least have done half of it.
Well, it kind of depends how well they do it.
So it's a shame. This guy only did 4 movies, but it's really hard to kind of like figure out what
Satoshi
Yeah.
Kon was doing.
I mean, I think they finished the script, so that's what matters. They got the
Okay.
script. Yeah. So
Well, yeah. And I get, but I guess his commentary may be different than what is happening now with, with the current events and
Yeah.
certain and
you have all
cer-
these you have all these
certain
people on
moments.
social media who are trying to get attention, and they don't, and they're willing to like.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we discussed this in another movie. In that movie, was it called Eighth Grade, where we have
Yeah.
all these characters who are willing to like
but except
throw their identity aside for the sake of popularity. Like
Well-
they'd be willing to like throw their identity away just for the sake of being
well,
popular.
except this time it's at the price of another of someone else, and someone else's psychological well-being. And you see this a lot with celebrities, especially I guess especially more like the bigger you are, the more people will dive head first into you. And there's a lot of that happening. You have stuff like gossip magazines. You have these celebrity bloggers who and I'm not gonna name like a certain website TMZ, but it's always they always like to bring you down, like in the worst type of way. And you see that, like, you see them everywhere. They're starving for attention, and it's just for some people, it's for all of us, it can be really annoying at times to know what it is. I mean, like half of the time it's all about like the biggest celebrities, Kim Kardashian. Like back then it was Paris Hilton, and even before then, like they talked about like Britney Spears, like during the time she like put out like more mature records, like Oops, I Did It Again, and like just diving in. It's just it like it's terrible, and hopefully like hopefully things will change for the better.
Yeah, and it's like I said, one thing I guess like, did we discuss like pretty much the basic of everything else? I mean, like we discussed pretty much all the basic stuff. One thing
Yeah.
I wanted to think of was the disconnect. Was discussing the disconnect between her world and our world, because like I said, this movie was made back in '97.
There's good ways of how they put that.
Yeah, you got. I mean, like I said, this movie was made in '97, and there's no way they could have possibly known back then that the internet would be popular, how popular it would be now. Like this movie, the dub, they say, oh yeah, the internet. I hear that's pretty popular nowadays. I'm like, yeah, if only they knew. That would be funny.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. And I mean, like the way they tell the story, they cut from her like the scenes in the movie, and the scenes in real life.
So basically, it's asking you what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, and I think they blur the line pretty well. Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of details that they decide to muddle around with. I think there was like an interrogation scene where she calls herself Mimodin, and you don't know whether or not that's in the actual drama
or if it's in a police station in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. The way it makes you wonder what's real, what's not real to the very end.
And I think at one point, like while Mima is walking, and her co-star is just like, she bumps into her co-star. It's like she almost calls her doctor almost.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, come on, we can stop pretending now.
Yeah.
And then like at this point, like Mima is so far gone that like she doesn't even know like if they are still acting.
Yeah.
Like and that's again, that it's a very psychologically disturbing.
Yeah.
That I mean, this film is probably, I don't know, this film to me was like, this was in the 90s, right?
97, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that this probably portrayed like the psychological like deterioration, like more, I guess in a more unique way than it did than a lot of other films it did before. I don't know.
guess.
I don't know what other film it did that before then.
I mean, Psycho, one of my favorite movies of all time, came out back in 1960, and that was like.
Well, true,
Yeah,
Psycho. Yeah, Psycho.
yeah.
But like,
we've been rambling on for too long. I think we got all the main points across. We covered
Yeah.
the main points, yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, just. I mean, this is my first time seeing it, so
It's my second time. I still haven't seen it in Japanese, so.
yeah, this was on my bucket list for a long time. Like I've watched like Millennium Actress and Tokyo Godfathers and a little bit of Paprika. So
I just really would like to see them finish, or any studio finish Dream Machine. That would be really cool.
yeah, and I guess you know the influence that it had on like I think there should be more like I mean Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream that isn't enough. I think more people should like go into more.
Well, the director has also done an anime series that I remember called Paranoid Agent. It's got similar themes. It's about a psycho. It's like about a 12-year-old serial killer who goes around assaulting people, and then like I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's
that's. Oh, all right. That's pretty intriguing.
yeah,
so,
it's about, and the whole thing was all in one woman's imagination because she couldn't let go of her past, and so she manifested this fake serial killer. It's, sorry, we're going off tangent now. I think we're done.
all right. Well, yeah. So if you're like me and you're in the dark before watching this movie, then go ahead, hit it.
Yeah.
I don't know if, yeah. I think this is like the last time where it's being aired in theaters until like very much later. But yeah. All right. That's it.